Still 1-0 to Southampton and Burnley. Tom's still here, by the way. Tom Moore. We've got our guest on for today. He's with us for another hour. You can't see Tom, but you'll definitely be able to hear him when he speaks. So I'll give him that opportunity in a moment as Skype keeps making OBS crash. Go on, there you go. You can hear him.
If you stand on a hill on a clear day, you'll still probably be able to see me, so I wouldn't worry too much.
He is quite a tall fellow, so yeah, hopefully now OBS won't crash and we can do this and we can enjoy ourselves for the next hour. Welcome if you're just joining us now. Our phone lines are still open, by the way. 0333 303 4868 standard network rate supply, and you can tweet us at Swindon oh no, I nearly gave out my radio station's Twitter account. That's a bad thing. That's a blunder. footy_fans_show. Facebook.com/the Football Fan Show, and email us thefootballfanshow@gmail.com. Burnley Southampton have just kicked off the second half. As I look over my left shoulder, it is still 1-0 to Southampton. Danny Ings with the goal, and we are finishing at 10 o'clock tonight. Match of the day. It's about 20 past 10, BBC One, if you want to go watch all the goals. Right, Ryan Reynolds, we kind of briefly talked about it, and we talked about Louis Tomlinson as well buying Doncaster, and about the amount of teenage girls that would have been in the Keep Moat Stadium that had never heard of the Keep Moat Stadium, but somehow now very much familiar with it. Louis Tomlinson trying to buy Doncaster Rovers a few years ago. And we briefly talked about Vince McMahon buying Newcastle United. Now, if you're not a wrestling fan, you will not know who Vince McMahon is. Vince McMahon is the owner of the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, the biggest biggest sports entertainment organization in the world. I'm not allowed to say wrestling, even though it literally in their name, he hates the word wrestling or wrestler. I love the fact that because they always used to come out of nowhere, they always used to come out of nowhere, the Vince McMahon stories, and I absolutely love them because I think they're absolutely bleep me out here, batshit crazy. They're always that, because it's like, what are you expecting now? Are you expecting, Stone Cold Steve Austin to rock up in a Newcastle gear and say, what? Just grab on the microphone. Or send The Rock there and say, if you smell what Matt Ritchie is cooking. I mean, that was the era. Matt Ritchie is no longer at Newcastle, but that was the era of
I firmly believe that the only time The Rock would that Stone Cold would honestly come out into St. James's Park and shout "what" is because he genuinely doesn't understand the Geordie accent.
Welcome Stone Cold, welcome to Newcastle. Welcome to Newcastle upon Tyne.
You said what?
What? Love it. Anyway, yeah, they always used to come out of nowhere, and they were always very random. This is not, though. Wrexham, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool himself, and a terrible Green Lantern. We'll put that aside. This isn't movie chat. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McKerney, who is the producer of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I'm reliably informed is a very funny show that unfortunately I do not watch. Set to buy Wrexham Football Club, and apparently, according to this article from Sky Sports News, they have an emotional connection with the club, say a director of Wrexham. And I'm just going to go into the article, and then Tom, if you want to laugh. Hollywood actors Ryan Reynolds, Rob McKerney have an emotional connection with Wrexham and can take the club to a completely different level. That's not too far from the truth. I'm sure that their money will help. Ryan Reynolds, by the way, is an exceedingly great businessman. If you've ever seen aviation gin adverts, he's sold that company for over $500 million. Around $630 million he sold that gin company for. So they're going to potentially invest in the club. The big screen duo have been revealed as potential investors in the North Welsh club, who currently play in the National League. Now, the National League hasn't kicked off for this season, and it's unlikely to return without fans. But that's a different story. Wrexham set to hold further talks with the star of Deadpool and Green Lantern. The shock revelation came after a special general meeting on Tuesday with the Wrexham Supporters Trust, Wrexham being a fan-owned club from 2011 onwards, confirming both names after 97.5% of the 1,254 members voted in favour of pursuing talks. Not confirmed yet. They've got a big emotional connection. That was told to Sky Sports News. It is massive news. Wrexham are a club with a lot of history. Sky Sports actually go on to say, is Reynolds even a football fan? Well, the Canadian was seen at a Hertha Berlin match to promote Deadpool 2 when he was in Germany. He was the second highest paid actor of 2010 behind Jumanji star The Rock. And according to Forbes magazine, but his passions clearly exceeded far beyond the realms of the silver screen. Deadpool 2, he's been in that. He was pictured at the Bernabeu alongside co-star Josh Brolin when they were promoting that Deadpool 2 in Madrid. He was also pictured at a Hertha Berlin game when they were in Germany promoting that film. And it leads me to celebrity sporting owners, but we'll park that for a moment and just say Deadpool FC is coming. And Tom, I'm going to be very disappointed because in the first, if they don't do something, because in the first Deadpool movie, I think they play X Gon Give It To You by DMX. Now, if they don't rework that track and make it Wrexham Go and Give It To You, I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed. Wrexham Go and Give It To You.
That would be amazing if they had the teams walk out to that song.
Someone call DMX.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it'd probably be a similar thing if Vince did take over Newcastle United. Newcastle walk out to Motorhead the game.
It's all about the game. So, yeah. Brilliant.
I can understand, from a humorous standpoint, it'll be really, really, especially if they come out to Wrexham Go and Give It To You, that would be absolutely amazing. But I think on the question of celebrity sporting ownership, I think, if they invest in lower league teams, then it could be a really, really good thing for the sport, because a lot of the time you see it with some lower league clubs where you have investors who basically use it as a cash cow. You see a lot of owners taking more money out than they put in. You just have to look at the old Blackpool owner, who's the club whose fans physically try to break into the director's box to get to him. You look at some of the other teams in the lower divisions, Swindon Town, our own teams, their history of owners hasn't been the best, and they haven't always had the best relationship with the fans. So I think celebrity ownership of football teams is good, provided it goes to the right teams. If they were to invest more money in these teams that are already quite cash rich, then I think it may not be so good for the sport, because all you're doing is pouring money into a system, into a club that's always going to make money despite itself. So if they are going to invest, I would say get them into the lower league teams, because particularly at the minute, these lower league teams are going to need all the financial support they can get. I mean, there has been a fair few takeovers, I would definitely say, in the last couple of years, that have either been propositioned or indeed gone through. But I think it's something that would be really, really good for Wrexham. I think it would get them even the slightest bit of exposure on the world stage, just because of the type of person Ryan Reynolds is. The exposure he has, how big a box office draw is, and things like that, and that's something that will do good for Wrexham, because then that will always be something that's associated with Ryan Reynolds. If Ryan Reynolds is stopped in there and he's like, "Oh, we're going to go see that Milner," but that Ryan Reynolds one, the bloke who owns that football team in north of Wales, So I think the fact that will be attached to him, hopefully, will do good for Wrexham as a club. You play at places like Wrexham Stadium. I can't remember what it's called.
Racecourse
but,
Ground. There you go.
That's
Racecourse Ground. Hasn't been in the Football League for a long time, so I'll forgive you for that, because I forget the name of former football. Yeah, but it is. It was called the Racecourse Ground. I'm sure it's still called that now. It's probably called something very Welsh, but it was the Racecourse Ground.
It was, yeah. I think from a commercial standpoint, it'd be really, really good for Wrexham as well. That could bring a new, different type of fan in. Like I said, give it a bit more of a presence on the world stage, however small it might be. Football teams want, they want ticket money. They want TV revenue whenever they do get on there. So yeah, I think I'm all for celebrity investors, provided it goes into grassroots football. It goes into more of the lower league teams, to help them fight, because we all love, like your Leicester Cities, the unexpected heroes of, the Premier League, your Wycombe Wanderers, who, against all the odds and against all the bookies, went up to the Championship. And I think more moments like that could only be good for the sport.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm just reading a article from North Wales Live, and they're listing things that Ryan Reynolds should know before buying the club, like keeping it as a community club. It's currently owned by its supporters, and then obviously doing, as you said, not going for the jugular and just spending money for the sake of money. What I do love, and it's a complete side note, as I just look over my left shoulder, still Burnley 0, Southampton 1. Danny Ings with the only goal of the game. 56 minutes and 21 seconds gone in the match. So somebody tweeted out years ago that I think it was 2011, they tweeted out saying it was somebody in Wales, and they tweeted out saying, you never know when Ryan Reynolds is going to turn up in Wrexham. And then on September 23rd, he replied to them and said, yep, you never know. And then he tweeted, I've waited 8 years to respond to this tweet. So, fantastic. Let's look at other, celebrity owners. And I'll just give a brief mention to Charlton Athletic, who have finally got their old owner out, new owner in. Although the chairman of the club was rumoured to be holding that up. Obviously, we've got the class of 92. They're very much celebrities, buying Salford City, although they made all their millions from playing football. Turned the club into... I don't want to insult Salford City by saying a mock Manchester United, but their kit used to be orange before they joined, and now it's red. So you take from that what you will. David Beckham and Inter Miami FC, Inter Miami Club de Football, because it's Spanish. Spanish title, but not Spanish club, obviously. Inter Miami, and the old pop idol producer used to own a stake in it. Doesn't anymore. He's David Beckham's agent, and I can't remember the guy's name. Simon Fuller, or something like that. Then you've got Russell Crowe, who owns... Well, this is Rugby Now, who owns a stake in the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Elton John, obviously, the most well-known football celebrity owner. Watford transformed them into FA Cup winners. Graham Taylor, the late Graham Taylor, was the manager for both of Elton John's spells as the owner and chairman of the club. When he took them over in 1976, they were in the 4th division, and he led them into the 1st division. And then he started his second... he stepped down in 2002, Elton John, after selling the club. But he did, I think, in the 90s, had a brief window where he wasn't on the board. He returned to the club following a few financial problems. Wrexham gonna give it to you. That's what I hear. That's what I want to hear from now on. Whenever the National League kicks off again, somebody called DMX, or they're gonna rebrand it. They're gonna do a Cardiff City when they change their kit from blue to red, and it will be opposed by the fans. Hello, welcome to Deadpool Football Club. In the ultimate marketing ploy, who would you rather have as? Go on.
I was going to say you left off another quite well-known celebrity owner of a football club. Obviously, Delia Smith owns part of Norwich City.
Of course, Delia Smith. Let's be having. Where are you? Let's be having you. Yeah. And Stephen Fry was on the board of directors of Norwich City as well. So I should have remembered. Should have remembered that one. Yeah, good shout.
Sorry.
Good shout there. No, fantastic shout. I'm glad for that I'm glad for that interruption. Fantastic shout. I love that. I completely forgot about Delia Smith. Yeah, and Stephen Fry on the board of directors of Norwich City. Don't think he still is, but was there in their last big Premier League run, not last season. Yeah. So here's my complete throwaway comedy question: who would you rather have managing you, Deadpool or Wolverine? Because they're both rivals.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, that is, not the characters.
I'd probably say Deadpool because he'd
But he'd be crazy.
He'd probably have a bit. Yeah, I think he'd be crazy, and I think he'd bring a kind of good press. Where I think with Wolverine, all it would take for you to be 5-0 down at half time before, you'd probably find it difficult to try and find a manager that works for you if the last one basically got knifed in the chest,
got his head cut off.
I think I'd prefer having Deadpool.
You'd want
simply
Deadpool
because he just brings that. He brings that crazy factor, and everyone knows that having that bit of a nutty manager brings your press. You just got to look at Joey Barton at Fleetwood and look at Di Canio when he was at Sunderland and Swindon. Who else was there that was a bit of a... I mean, even if you look at Klopp, if he's so invested into a game, all I have to do is look back at that. I think it was a Liverpool-Brighton game where Klopp literally ran down the length of the touchline, and I think Adam Lallana jumping into him caused him to fall over and break his glasses. And that was quite entertaining. So I would say Deadpool for the chaos that he'd bring, because chaos in football is always, it's always meant money. I mean, when Paolo Di Canio was manager of Swindon, some of that were at that time, all right, Di Canio was spending more money than the club would ever see again, but it brought in a lot more. It brought in a lot of sales. Yeah, I mean, the county ground's only got a capacity of just over 15,000. However, it's frequently around those match days they were pulling in 9, 10, 11,000 spectators. I mean, if you compare that to what Swindon would take nowadays, I mean, me and you have been to our fair share of Swindon games.
Yep.
I think the last one we went to when we played Forest Green,
which was the last game of last season.
It was the last game of last season. Now I look back on it, it was. I remember them saying the attendance figures were somewhere around 9,000. So it's good when there's a buzz about a team or a bit of chaos, it seems to do wonders. The ticket barriers keep being used. So yeah, I would say my choice would have to be Deadpool. I don't think Wolverine would. I don't think he would have the state of mind or the ability to say run a club that that Deadpool would.
We're missing the obvious Professor X. He would obviously be the manager because, he'd know exactly what the opposition was thinking before they even thought it. So you can counteract anything if you know what's happening, if you know what's coming up. Yeah, he's just going to pass it to him. Just break his leg. There we go. Celebrities in football.